Hello rail fans and model railroaders, James here with Boulder Creek Yard, and today we are going to be doing some resin printing and detail. What I have here in my hand is a resin print of a rooftop HVAC system. As you can see, it's got some imperfections on the bottom of it, but I'm not too worried about that. All those little holes in the bottom there are drainage holes, so it can drain out properly, and you can see in this one right here, I didn't do that, and it warped like crazy. All of that bottom stippling that you see is the support material, and there are ways to make it better. I haven't quite gotten there yet. I'm still learning a lot of this whole resin printing thing, but it's nothing that sandpaper can't handle. These messed up models can still be used. They can be put on something way in the back where they don't need a lot of close-up inspection. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and sand the bottom of this one flat. This isn't a crucial step depending on where you're going to be putting these. This one I plan to make it a little bit nicer, so I'm going to go ahead and sand the bottom. Now that I have those sanded down enough to my liking, I'm just going to go over the parts and double check and make sure I didn't miss anything. So as you can see on the bottom of these parts, there's some holes. Those are drainage holes for the resin to make the part hollow. If I don't do that, then I end up with the part cracking. It's just one of those things about resin printing. So now I'm on to the priming stage of things, and I'm going to be using MIG one-shot primer. Now this is the same stuff as Steinrelez or whatever you say it. And I haven't finished this bottle out yet, so that's why I'm using this smaller, expensive bottle. Now this stuff is a pain. You really have to shake the heck out of it, so I'm going to go off camera for a bit and do that. Now that we're back, you just load in as much as you think you're going to need, but not too much because it's kind of hard to get back in the bottle. I have said it before and I will say it again. I really like this stuff because it's literally one shot and you can handle it really quickly. I haven't found the need to put any flow improver in it. You just got to crank up your air pressure a bit and blow your parts all over. That's what kind of makes it nice, is you can either use blue tack to hold things down, or if you're being lazy like me, you can use your fingers. So as you can see here, I'm painting some other resin prints that I made on this same build plate. I'm not really going to go over these too much, but I'm going to take this chance to just prime them while I have the paint in the cup. So on that note, I think I'm gonna switch to probably a monthly video schedule so I can have a better chance at making better videos. Right now I've gone back to work in the office a couple days a week, and it's kind of just slowed me down a lot. But also my last video that I prepared wasn't that great. I had a lot of issues shooting it and editing it, and because of that, I think I'm going to go to a different schedule. I've decided to not release that video. I'm probably gonna go and pick up another car of that type so I can reshoot it. I just had all kinds of issues with the video camera not recording stuff and the angles being wrong, so I need to work on that, and I need to try and not rush it as much. So I'm thinking I'll do little videos here and there, stuff that only takes, you know, a little bit of prep, some YouTube shorts and such, and then probably at the end of the month each month, or the beginning of the month each month, whatever Friday works out the best, I will release a video then. So now we're on to the painting stage of things. So you can see the colors that I'm using are listed on the screen, but they are Model Air Silver, Model Air IDF Sand Gray, and Model Color Silver Gray. The Model Color is, of course, one of their thicker paints meant to be brushed on, so you gotta really thin it. The color that I'm trying to go for here is the color of your standard rooftop AC system. Generally, on the industrial ones, they're kind of a gray or a beige color. Now, I mixed in a bunch of the silver from Model Air, and it doesn't really show up, but that's okay. The color still came out the way that I wanted. So, since you have a lot of that model color in there, you've got to add quite a bit of flow improver and turn up your air pressure quite a bit because it's an acrylic paint. So we're just going to kind of give this a nice even base coat covering the whole thing. So I noticed I'm missing some videos, so I went back and reshot that. That's why this piece of detail here looks like it's already been done. You can see that black line on the front. Anyways, I'm going to do it real quick here on a piece that I didn't quite finish. So we're going to use some MIG acrylic color wash, some game wash by Vallejo, some medium thinner by Vallejo, and a really sharp tipped brush. So what I do is I put some of the Vallejo wash down because I find that it's thinner, and then I thin the heck out of it with some of this medium thinner. I didn't put enough there, so I'm gonna have to come back and do that in a second. And then I put just a little bit of this MIG stuff on the side. It's a little bit thicker. I'm not sure how you're actually supposed to use it, but it doesn't really react like a wash to me. Maybe it's kind of drying out or something like that. Sorry for the autofocus issues here. I guess I didn't lock it out as this was a rush to reshoot. Anyways, I've added some more of that medium thinner there, and now we're just going to give this a whole little bit of lining. So you can see these kind of triangular bits a little bit on the camera. Those are the just texturing that you tend to see on HVAC systems. I'm just going to give that a little bit of shadowing. Try not to overdo it, but I think I end up still kind of overdoing it anyway. So now I'm going to just go through and kind of line up these panels here. So this is actually a really kind of delicate thing, and you just want to kind of drag that really fine tip over there. It helps if you have a steady hand. If you don't have a steady hand, what you can do is you can just ignore this and do it with powders or something like that. It should work just fine. 4 seams and this it'll line up. I already did it earlier on this one, so I'm only doing this single line right here. And I kind of did a little too dark, but what you can do is you can just kind of continue to pull that down. Maybe you need to re-wet the brush just a little bit. And you can see how the vents here are a little bit dark already. I'm just going to go over those again to kind of show you what I did with the wash. This is one of the things that I had done in the earlier step that I thought I was recording but wasn't. And then, you know, same with the fans up here on top. This will just kind of sink down into those ridges and just give it some nice depth. And I was looking to see kind of if there were any other colors on these things, and it kind of depends on the brand that you use, but the reference photo that I was looking at had a nice little white hub there. Most of them are all the same color, just sprayed over the whole thing because it's much cheaper, but I like the little bit of variation on it. So sorry for all the reshooting there. I think this goes back to why I want to put a little bit more time in between videos that I'm doing so I can do them better and not catch at the last second that I have a whole like 10 minutes worth of footage missing. Anyways, you can see right here one of the ones that I did in that lost footage, and I overdid the little triangle area right there. I'm kind of starting to think maybe it's not even really needed anymore. Anyways, sorry for the hand in the way. I need to find a better setup for videoing little detail things like this. But basically I'm just putting on a really light coat of dirt onto this. One thing I've noticed is if you look up photos of rooftop HVAC systems, a lot of them look really new and shiny because it's just a lot of promotional and advertising photos and whatnot. But if you actually go up on a roof and look at the real ones that have been out there for a couple of years, they tend to all be pretty grimy, especially if they're near any kind of industrial setting or construction of any sort. Like even in downtown, you know, Palo Alto or something like that, they've got construction everywhere and the rooftops are gross. So another way that you could do this whole thing is you could do it all with these weathering powders right here instead of doing the paint like I was doing to give the details. It works well enough, and just kind of based on personal preference and skill level. My skill level may not be that great, but I like trying new things, and you'd be kind of surprised at how much better panel lining makes things look when it's done correctly. I'm not saying that I did it correctly. So here we are at the finished product, or mostly finished product. It could still use some detailing, and I probably could have done a better job sanding the bottom. One thing that you could look to add to this is some wiring and conduit, maybe some breakers on the side. And here's a comparison of two that were done to varying levels of, weathering. I almost kind of like this one more, and you can actually see those 4 triangles on the side from this one. I don't really think that it needs that extra dark paneling on it. I think I'll probably end up redoing these, but this is good as a learning experience as well. Also, this is way too small of a building for this type of HVAC system, but it's the only one that I really have with a flat roof here at my house. These will probably be going down to Silicon Valley lines where they'll be more in the background and you won't see as much of the details that I have issues with. Well, anyways, I'm going to leave you with a quick view of some of the other little things that you can do with resin. And I just want to say that it'll probably be about another month before I upload another video. I want to be able to pre-plan the videos, shoot them, make sure I have all the footage properly done, then go and edit them better than I have currently been. And I think it'll take me a little bit more time to do that than just a week or two. With that said, Boulder Creek Yard out.